Trade log for October 7th, 2025. NQ chart, NQ 2000 tick chart. A little bit of upfront analysis I did during the pre-market. Here we can see the value area of yesterday, and then we can see the slight shift downwards in the value area overnight. I don't know if anyone was looking at the pre-market action, but there was this kind of wild pump. Um, I guess like for the last 2 hours of pre-market, that pump was there wasn't a lot of volume to it. You'll notice that the point of control basically stayed at the bottom third, I guess, of the value area. Like it didn't move up, so that was suspect. Um, but yeah, anyway, let me just kind of turn that off real quick. So to start the day, they started like more or less, yeah, right around here. I asked myself, or I'm trying to ask myself, well, just a very simple question: what is the market trying to do, and is it succeeding? So what I noticed was that the value area high from the prior day was being defended quite a bit. Um, so that was essentially what the market was trying to do, was trying to defend the value area high, and it was successful at doing that. So I thought to myself, on the next test of this general area, I'm going to try a long. And what gave me a little bit more confidence in doing that, again, I'm going to print the volume profile all the way up until the point that I went long. Let me just stretch this out a little bit. What you'll notice is that there's this pretty crazy cut in the volume profile. You have this gap between this volume node, this high volume node, and this big one. You can see it right there. And just for kicks, what we'll do is we'll print um, like a rectangle right in that area. And you'll notice how nicely, let me just move this over again. You'll notice how nicely that lines up with with the area that I was looking at. So price ended up retracing to that gap in the volume profile, or that essentially the low volume node. And then what I looked for, let me get rid of that. What I looked for and what I took action on was, okay, let's, from an order flow perspective, let me zoom in a little bit. From an order flow perspective, let me look for some absorption, check. Let me look for some stacked imbalances, check. Let me look for some big trades to come in, check. So we got those three order flow indicators kind of lighting up, and the fact that we were hitting that cut in the volume profile, I went long. My fill was garbage. I felt like I got in like more or less here, but I don't know if it was slippage or me just being slow on the trigger. But I got in around here, and what I targeted initially, actually, to be truthful, I was actually targeting the high of day, a high of the pre-market session, and this absorption. Um, in my heart, that's what I wanted. But what I ended up getting, and I was just being a little bit conservative, was right over here. See this ledge? So we traded from one ledge to the other, and that's basically where I took off my trade. It ended up being, I think, like a little bit less than a 20-point trade, which is a base hit by all accounts, but a winner nevertheless. And I think, like, with the fact that I got those four confluences, the retrace into the low volume node, and the three order flow indicators just basically chiming, it ended up being like a pretty high probability trade. So the risk reward probably ended up being, you can kind of see what it is. You're just eyeballing it, probably 1.5, 1 to 1.5. So okay, but high probability at the end of the day. So I was happy with that. And basically, honestly, I just sat on my hands for the rest of the day. Another trade that I could have taken, I saw unfolding in real time, but I didn't take. This is very messy. So let me just kind of turn off some of this stuff here. Another trade that I saw unfolding in real time, because I was just kind of sitting on my hands at that point, was this guy over here. So let me just stretch the volume profile just to show you. See this shooting star right over here? So let's print that up until that point in time. You can see that that was actually, so price dipped into this. Now this high volume node did a little retrace. We got that candle that, so just bear that in mind. So that's a retrace into this gap, into this low volume node. Let's just kind of get rid of that just to show you. And then what we saw on the from an order flow perspective is that that was a kind of this little bear flag into VWAP. Get rid of that. And boom, right? Look at the very top of the candle. This is actually a really big trade, a number of really big trades coming in, where sellers were essentially rejecting at that rejecting price from retracing any further. So it got stopped at the low volume note, and then it basically sold off. I didn't take this trade. I saw it unfold in real time. That was this guy was the trade of the day. I mean, you could have easily just held on to that just by trailing just like a silly EMA all the way through. I mean, that would have been, I don't know, whatever, 100-point trade. So yeah, that was the day. I'm happy with that little long that I took. Nevertheless, I followed process, didn't trade based on logic and order flow and auction market theory principles. Yeah, winner on the day. Take it easy.